Barnaby Button, a town mouse, lived a life of luxury. His pantry overflowed with cheese, crackers, and crumbs pilfered from the local bakery. His home, nestled within the warm walls of a grand house, was a haven of comfort. He had never known hunger or hardship. One day, a letter arrived, penned in elegant script, inviting Barnaby to visit his cousin Beatrice, who lived in the countryside. Barnaby, intrigued by the adventure, set off. Beatrice's home was a stark contrast to his. It was a simple burrow beneath the roots of an ancient oak tree, and her meals consisted of berries, nuts, and the occasional grasshopper. Barnaby found the simplicity jarring. "This is dreadful," he exclaimed, wrinkling his nose at a particularly plump acorn. "The food is bland and there's not a crumb of decent cheese in sight." Beatrice, however, seemed content. She showed Barnaby the wonders of her world, the rustling leaves, the singing birds, the cool, clear stream that ran nearby. She shared stories of daring escapes from hungry cats and the thrill of finding the juiciest berries. Barnaby, accustomed to the predictable rhythm of town life, found himself captivated by the unpredictable excitement of the countryside. One evening, as they sat by the stream, a shadow fell over them. A large, hungry owl swooped down, causing a flurry of panicked activity. Beatrice, with her knowledge of the land, quickly led Barnaby to safety. He realized then that her simple life wasn't dull. It was filled with a different kind of excitement, a challenge that kept her sharp and alert. The next morning, Barnaby began his journey back to town. He carried with him not just the memory of the countryside, but a newfound appreciation for its stark beauty and the quiet strength of his cousin. The city's comforts still held their appeal, but now he understood that there was more to life than just fine cheeses and soft beds. He had learned to appreciate the simple pleasures, the thrill of the unexpected, and the value of a life lived in harmony with nature. He even started incorporating some of Beatrice's simple yet delicious recipes into his refined diet. He regularly wrote to Beatrice, sharing stories of the city, and she would often send him little packages of wild berries and nuts, a reminder of their shared adventure, and the understanding that different lifestyles could both hold their own unique charms. Once upon a time, in a meadow painted with wildflowers, lived 3 little lambs, Pip, Squeak, and Baa. Pip, the eldest, was brave and adventurous. Squeak was clever and quick-witted, and Baa, the youngest, was kind and compassionate. One sunny morning, an old shepherd, his face etched with wisdom and his eyes twinkling with mischief, approached them. "Little lambs," he announced, "a terrible shadow has fallen upon our valley. The whispering willow, the source of our meadow's magic, is withering. Only the 3 sunstones, hidden in the treacherous peaks of Mount Crag, can restore it." The lambs, despite their initial fear, accepted the quest. Their journey began with a trek through a whispering forest, where mischievous sprites tried to lead them astray with dazzling illusions. Squeak's quick thinking helped them navigate the maze of shimmering lights and confusing paths. They then crossed a rushing river, its currents strong and unpredictable. Baa's gentle nature calmed the waters, allowing them to safely cross on a makeshift raft of fallen logs. Finally, they reached the formidable Mount Crag, its jagged peaks scraping the sky. The ascent was perilous. Pip's bravery pushed them forward, his determination unwavering despite the steep climbs and treacherous cliffs. They faced blizzards that threatened to bury them in snow and howling winds that tried to tear them from the mountainside. But their courage and teamwork never faltered. They helped each other over obstacles, their bond strengthening with each challenge. Along the way, they encountered a grumpy mountain troll who guarded a hidden passage. Using Pip's courage to distract the troll and Squeak's cleverness to create a diversion, Baa managed to slip past, retrieving a hidden map that guided them to the Sunstones. After many trials and tribulations, they finally reached the 3 Sunstones, nestled within a crystal cave, glowing with a warm, golden light. Each lamb carefully carried a sunstone back down the mountain. Their return to the meadow was met with joyous celebration. The shepherd, overcome with emotion, placed the sunstones at the base of the whispering willow. As soon as the stones touched the earth, a wave of warmth spread through the meadow, revitalizing the withering tree. Its leaves, once dull and lifeless, burst into vibrant green, and the meadow was filled with renewed life and magic. The three little lambs, hailed as heroes, had proven that even the smallest creatures can achieve the greatest feats when they work together, embracing their unique strengths and facing challenges with courage, kindness, and unwavering hope. The legend of the three little lambs and their legendary quest would be told and retold for generations to come, inspiring courage and hope in all who heard it. The sun beat down on Finley the fox, its rays turning the vineyard into a shimmering mirage. High above, clusters of plump purple grapes hung like jewels from the vine, their sweetness promising relief from the midday heat. Finley, his tongue lolling out, leaped, his paws scrabbling against the rough bark of the ancient oak that supported the vine. He stretched, he strained, his lithe body taut with effort, but the grapes remained tantalizingly out of reach. He tried again, and again, each jump a desperate plea to the sun-drenched bounty. His claws dug into the bark, leaving small, angry scratches. Dust motes danced in the air, disturbed by his frantic movements. The grapes, however, remained stubbornly aloft, mocking his efforts with their juicy indifference. Finley, panting, finally gave up. He sat back on his haunches, his chest heaving. He watched a fat bumblebee lazily drift from one grape to another, its fuzzy body dusted with pollen. The bumblebee seemed to sip nectar with the utmost contentment, a stark contrast to Finley's frustration. He let out a frustrated huff. The grapes, so close, yet so far. A cynical glint entered his eyes. A sly smile curled his lips. He rose gracefully to his feet, his tail brushing the dry earth. He muttered, his voice a low rumble. Those grapes probably aren't even ripe. They look far too dark. Sour, I'll wager. Much too sour for a refined palate like mine. I wouldn't touch them if you paid me. With a final dismissive flick of his tail, Finley turned and sauntered away, his gait betraying none of the disappointment that gnawed at his heart. He headed towards a patch of juicy berries, far more attainable and, in his current mood, considerably more appealing. The sweet taste of berries, he decided, was far superior to the imagined tartness of those unreachable grapes. As he munched contentedly, he convinced himself that his decision had been entirely rational, a testament to his superior judgment and discerning taste. Once upon a time, in a forest filled with towering oak trees and babbling brooks, lived 3 bears: Papa Bear, Mama Bear, and Baby Bear. They lived in a cozy cottage nestled amongst the trees. One sunny morning, the bears decided to take a stroll, leaving their porridge to cool. Meanwhile, a little girl named Goldilocks skipped through the woods, her red ribbons bouncing. She was curious and a little mischievous. Spotting the bear's cottage, she peeked inside and saw the delicious-looking porridge. She couldn't resist. First, she tried Papa Bear's porridge. It was far too hot. Then she tried Mama Bear's porridge. Too cold. Finally, she tasted Baby Bear's porridge. Just right. She ate it all up, leaving the bowl empty. Feeling bolder, Goldilocks explored further. She sat in Papa Bear's chair, a sturdy, oversized armchair. It was too hard. Then she tried Mama Bear's chair, a comfortable, plush rocking chair. It was too soft. Finally, she sat in Baby Bear's little chair. It was just right, until it broke. Goldilocks, startled, fled to the bedroom. She tried Papa Bear's bed, but it was too hard. Mama Bear's bed was too soft. Baby Bear's bed was just right, and she snuggled in for a nap, falling fast asleep. The bears returned, their stroll complete. Papa Bear grumbled, "Someone's been eating my porridge." Mama Bear echoed, "And sitting in my chair," Baby Bear cried, "and my chair is broken." They followed the trail of crumbs and sleepy sighs to the bedroom. There, they found Goldilocks fast asleep in Baby Bear's bed. Startled awake by the sight of 3 large bears, Goldilocks leaped up, apologized profusely, and dashed out of the cottage, promising never to trespass again. The bears, though initially upset, found the whole situation rather comical. They cleaned up the mess, repaired the chair, and decided to add a lock to their door. From that day on, Goldilocks learned a valuable lesson about respecting other people's property and the importance of asking permission before entering someone's home, no matter how inviting it might seem. Once upon a time, in a kingdom nestled beside a dark forest, lived a woman known for her enchanting beauty and a magical gift: hair that grew endlessly, shimmering like spun gold. This was the queen, and her beauty was only rivaled by the mystery surrounding her hidden tower. One day, a wicked sorceress, consumed by envy, stormed the castle. She imprisoned the queen in the highest tower, stealing her gift of golden hair for her own dark purposes. The queen, however, was not alone. She had given birth to a daughter, a child with hair as radiant as the sun, a child she named Rapunzel. The sorceress raised Rapunzel in the tower, cutting and weaving her hair into magical tapestries that fueled the sorceress's dark magic. Rapunzel, unaware of her true origins, grew up surrounded by the sorceress's enchanted objects and strange rituals. She knew only the tower, the sorceress, and the endless golden stream of her own hair. Years passed. Rapunzel's hair cascaded down the tower, a shimmering waterfall of gold. One day, a prince, lost and weary from a long journey, stumbled upon the tower. He heard the enchanting melody of Rapunzel's song, a voice as beautiful as the golden hair he saw cascading from the top. He was captivated. Every day, the prince would visit the tower, and Rapunzel would sing for him, her voice weaving tales of a world beyond the stone walls. Their connection grew stronger each day, a silent promise blooming between them. The sorceress, however, grew suspicious. She discovered the prince's visits and confronted Rapunzel, her anger a tempest of dark magic. She banished Rapunzel to a desolate island, far from the prince and the tower. The prince, heartbroken, searched tirelessly for Rapunzel. He scoured the land, his hope dwindling with each passing day. Meanwhile, Rapunzel, alone on the island, found solace in nature. The island's beauty reminded her of the simple joy of life, the beauty she had always known deep within her heart. One day, she found an old forgotten boat. With newfound determination, she sailed back towards the kingdom, towards the tower that held her memories, towards the prince whose voice echoed in her heart. She arrived at the tower just as the sorceress was about to use the last of Rapunzel's woven hair for a powerful spell. A confrontation ensued. Rapunzel, armed with the courage she had found on the island and the power of her own golden hair, defeated the sorceress. Her magic weakened, the sorceress was banished to the dark forest, forever separated from the beauty she had stolen. The prince, seeing Rapunzel return, embraced her. They returned to the kingdom, where Rapunzel, now free, was reunited with her mother. Her hair, still shimmering with golden light, became a symbol of hope and resilience, a tale whispered throughout the kingdom, reminding everyone of the triumph of love and courage over darkness and envy. Once upon a time, in a small kingdom nestled beside a dark forest, lived a miller who was known more for his boasts than his bushels of grain. He bragged to the king that his daughter could spin straw into gold. The king, a greedy man, demanded a demonstration. He locked the miller's daughter, a young woman named Alara, in a tower room filled with straw, giving her only one night to fulfill his impossible demand. Alara, terrified, wept. Suddenly, a small, oddly dressed man appeared. He introduced himself as Rumpelstiltskin. He offered to spin the straw into gold in exchange for her necklace. Despérate, Elara agreed. By morning, the tower room was filled with glittering gold. The king, overjoyed, demanded more. He brought Elara more straw, and Rumpelstiltskin returned, each time demanding a higher price. First her ring, then a promise of her firstborn child. Elara, trapped by her circumstances, agreed again and again. Time passed, and Elara gave birth to a beautiful baby boy. Rumpelstiltskin appeared to claim his due. Elara, now desperate to save her son, pleaded for mercy. She promised to give him anything else she owned, anything in her kingdom, but not her child. Rumpelstiltskin agreed to a contest. If she could guess his name within 3 days, he would relinquish the child. Elara searched high and low, questioning everyone she knew, but no one knew the strange man's name. On the 3rd day, despairing, she rode through the forest, praying for help. She came across an old woman who was gathering herbs. The old woman listened to Elara's tale and helped her remember the unusual things Rumpelstiltskin said and did. Elara remembered the little man's boasting, his strange laugh, and his peculiar dance. She realized that the old woman's words had to be the clues she needed. As Rumpelstiltskin returned to claim the child, Elara looked at him and said, "Is your name Rumpelstiltskin?" The small man's eyes widened in shock. He leaped and stamped his foot in anger, his body twisting and contorting. He cried out in fury, and with a final furious yell of his own name, he vanished in a puff of smoke. Elara, relieved, embraced her son, forever grateful for her courage and her cleverness. The sun beat down on the meadow, painting the tall grass in shimmering gold. An ant, tiny but determined, hauled a crumb many times its size, its legs working tirelessly. Nearby, a grasshopper chirped merrily, its legs twitching rhythmically as it hopped from blade to blade. "Why work so hard?" the grasshopper chirped, its voice light and carefree. "Summer is for fun." It plucked a juicy leaf and began to munch. The ant paused, its antennae twitching. "Summer won't last forever," it replied, its voice a low hum. "Winter is coming, and we need to prepare." The grasshopper laughed, a sound like tinkling bells. "Winter is ages away. Plenty of time for work then." And with another satisfied munch, it resumed its merry hopping. The ant, unfazed, continued its work, diligently storing food in its underground home. Days turned into weeks, and the meadow buzzed with the sounds of summer. The grasshopper spent its time singing, dancing, and feasting. The ant, however, toiled relentlessly, ensuring enough food for the harsh winter ahead. Then, autumn arrived, painting the meadow in fiery hues. The grasshopper, still carefree, began to feel the first nip of cold. The abundant food had vanished, replaced by frost and bare branches. It shivered, its cheerful song replaced by a desperate chirp. Seeing the grasshopper's plight, the ant felt a pang of sympathy, but it also knew the importance of its hard work. "I told you," the ant said quietly, offering the grasshopper a small portion of its stored food. "Winter is here." The grasshopper, humbled and hungry, gratefully accepted the offering. The winter was long and harsh, but the ant survived comfortably, its larder well stocked. The grasshopper, having learned a valuable lesson, spent the winter shivering and regretting its summer of idleness. When spring finally arrived, the grasshopper, weak but alive, watched as the ant emerged, strong and ready to begin anew. From that day on, the grasshopper understood the importance of preparation and hard work, a lesson learned through hardship and the kindness of a diligent ant.